Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rosie and I graduated from the University of Oxford last year and I am getting ready to start a Masters in late September, early October. So everything that I'm telling you now also applies to me and is advice that I have learned throughout my degree. So not just what went wrong in first year, but also things that I might have taken later on or only just realised I didn't need way too far into it and I'd taken it to and from uni so many times. So I don't know about other unis, but I know Oxbridge has a thing where you have to move out every term. Some colleges are different, some years are different, so it depends on your lease for that specific year, but I know for a fact that most first years anyway will definitely have to move out in the holidays. This is because of interviews happening and conferences, and basically they rent out the rooms in the holidays to summer schools, school groups, things like that. So you don't want to be too over ambitious with your packing, and I'm just going to talk about 5 different main things that you really don't need, or at least I didn't need it anyway. So number 1 is basically don't take your whole wardrobe. You're probably thinking, yeah, that one's obvious, you know, I would know that one, but I'm being serious. Like, be ruthless with what you will and won't take. Take clothes for this season. Do not take clothes for the whole year, because chances are you will go home at least once in between it getting cold and warm. So just don't pack everything. If you are an international student and you don't know much about the UK climate, you're gonna want a big coat, but it might be better for you to buy that when you get here from pretty much any shop. They will be around your uni. Just make sure you're packing clothes for that time of year is what I'm saying. Don't decide, oh, you know what, I'm gonna need swimming costumes, bikinis, dresses, all of these things, because you're not gonna use them. I would personally take, you know, several pairs of trousers, different types of ones. So maybe one pair of jeans that you'd go out in, a comfy pair, a couple of pairs of joggers, because you will live in the joggers. The only thing that I would say take more of than you'd think is underwear, because if you're anything like anyone that I came across when I was at uni, you will leave your washing until you have no underwear left. So you'll either be one of two people. You could take more underwear and end up doing less washes and spending less money on the washing machine, or you could take less underwear so that it forces you to wash. You decide which person you are. From my experience, uni wardrobes aren't very big at all in terms of hanging space. Like, I had to take an extra clothes rail for all of my coats and then some of my dresses in 3rd year, and it wasn't necessary, like I didn't need all of the things that I took, but just bear in mind that the cupboards are very small. Like, they're standard student room cupboards, so you're not gonna have anywhere near the space that you probably have at home, and so you might actually need a clothes rail that is one of those flat pack ones. In terms of like night out outfits, I would take maybe 3 to 4 outfits that are like your perfect night out outfit. This doesn't have to be a different pair of trousers every time. It could literally be like the same jeans 3 times but with different tops, or maybe one with a skirt. Like, mix and match, but just have 3 that you can roll, because nobody thinks you're wearing the same thing as last time. Like, it's just not like that at all. You just wear something that makes you feel good and is also kind of comfy. Like, I haven't worn heels out in Oxford, at least ever, for uni. Like, students don't wear heels unless it's like a themed night or a ball or something, so I wouldn't bother taking those either. I know I took like 4 pairs in first year because Manchester clubbing tends to have heels, so I was very confused. Trainers, definitely take the trainers. Take probably like a separate pair of trainers for clubbing, because you're gonna need a pair that you don't mind getting dirty. They will get dirty. Like, don't go out in white Vans by any means. Okay, number 2, you do not need an ironing board or an iron. These will be bulky. You won't have anywhere to keep them. Like, you don't want to keep an iron and ironing board in your room. There won't be enough space. I have never met another student who irons their clothes other than like for a ball, and they happen, what, once, twice a year max. Just do not bother. What you could do when you get there is buy a joint like tabletop ironing board and iron from Argos or Sainsbury's, and you can just split the cost. It'll be like £2 each if you get it in a flat. So it's so much better than trying to pack all of that stuff, plus you run the risk of losing your own personal one. Number 3 is crockery. By all means take your own plates, bowls, spoons, forks, etc. but only take 2 of each thing. I know that you might think, oh, but what if I lose one, what if I smash one? You could replace that when that happens, but that's why you've got 2. So you've got one for now and one that could be in the wash, one could be dirty, you could be using one. If you take more than that, you're more likely to leave them in a pile and not wash them up. I know that sounds gross, but students are gross. You don't realise how much hard work you're going to be doing when you get there, or how many days you may be a little bit hungover and you don't want to do your washing up. And yes, it's gross. Would recommend doing your washing up straight away, but that just isn't how it ends up happening, if I'm being very honest. Obviously, taking loads of crockery and loads of glasses and stuff also takes up a lot of space, so you run the risk of one, breaking stuff on the way if you take too many, but also just not having enough room. Like, where are you going to put all of these plates? You don't, trust me on this one, you don't want to leave 6 of your plates in the kitchen and all of your stuff in the kitchen if you can help it, because people use it, they don't wash it up, things get broken, and they don't tell you. I was really lucky in that I had really great housemates, but I know when we had a big shared kitchen in first year, people left stuff there. They generally never found it again. Number 4 links to number 3, and that is to not take really unnecessary kitchen utensils, such as cheese graters, really different big size knives, too much cooking stuff, baking things. I took like a waffle maker, I took a mini cake tin thing to make a mini cake stack, and cookie cutters, and all these different things which seemed great and really novel when I got them. Some of them were presents and I've maybe used them once. I think I made waffles once at uni. I'd probably make them more in my masters. We just didn't have any time at undergrad to be creative. It just didn't happen, you know. We went saying, oh, we're gonna have dinner together, we're gonna have dinner parties, we're gonna cook together, we're gonna bake together. It never happened, ever. It just didn't happen. I took a grater with me and it came home after 3 years still with the tag on. Bear in mind I'm allergic to cheese, so I'm not entirely sure what I thought I was gonna be grating, but even so, I didn't use it. The same with my whisk. I used it one time in order to make cookies after I'd finished my exams. Just wasn't economical in terms of space and the money spent on all of these things because they just didn't get used. If you really want a selection of things like that in your flat, then maybe decide, if you've got like a group chat or something before you go, if you all take one of the different items in like a baking set or whatever, or you could buy a group set from Argos or Sainsbury's or Tesco or whatever you want to get them from once you get there. I would say though, if you do take them, so one of the reasons I took everything is because I've got severe allergies, so I needed my own versions of everything. Just make sure you've got your name on those things, because like I said, my housemates were great, my flatmates were great, but you don't really know people until you've lived with them for a few weeks. You also don't know who else might come into your flat and decide, we didn't have any knives upstairs, so I'm just gonna take this one. I don't know how most flats at other unis work in terms of whether you can get into them, but I know we could like use the kitchens on every floor, which meant that we often had piles of washing up and our plates and pans were used by people who weren't even on our floor, and it was really frustrating. But when we put our names on things, they weren't used because there was a bit more accountability, if that makes sense. Plus it means that if you think you've lost something, you're sure because it's got your name on it. Finally, number 5 is a vacuum cleaner. I'm not entirely sure who would take a vacuum cleaner to uni, but don't. I've seen a couple of people take those little handheld ones that, you know, restaurants clean their tablecloths with. If you want to take one of those, fair enough, because you might want to clean your desk or do a quick go of, I don't know, around your bed or your window ledges or something, especially if you're like me and have a dust allergy. But as far as I'm aware, flats have a Hoover anyway. I'm actually going to check with my brother on that one because he went to Sheffield Hallam, so he had a flat. I didn't. I know that Scouts at Oxford will hoover your room once a week. I'm gonna go and check now whether most flats have hoovers. So I can confirm that at least Liberty Halls in Sheffield Hallam does have a Henry Hoover in each flat. The feedback I got was we didn't ever change the bags, so we stopped using it at Christmas. So change the bags. So there's a few other things that I didn't take, which a lot of other people did take, but I personally didn't find any issues with not having these things. The first one, and the kind of main one, being a printer. Your uni will have printers in the libraries. They'll be attached to your reader card most likely. And yes, you will have to pay for them, but I personally found that it was way cheaper than having to buy inks and having to buy a printer itself. The only time I had a printer was when I bought a £30 printer for specifically my dissertation, so that during finals I didn't have to keep walking into college in order to use the printer because it was quite far away, and then I could just literally print out my whole dissertation. Basically, the college printer had run out of ink when I was having to print my dis, so that was a bit of a lifesaver then, but for first and second year, having a printer was just completely pointless. We didn't use it. They also interfered with the Wi-Fi, which meant every time someone connected a Wi-Fi printer to the Wi-Fi, the rest of the Wi-Fi went off, which was dumb and not the printer's fault, but still, that may happen to you. Ed Jerome apparently doesn't work with printers. Taking books from home, again, is something I didn't do because I just did not have time to read them. I took a few archaeology ones, but I didn't really read them. And in terms of taking books like for leisure reading, if you really think you're going to do that, then take them, but I just don't think you will have time. If any of me and my friends are to go off anyway, we didn't have any time. Plus there will be libraries in your city which you can register to get books out, like, so you don't need to take a shelf full of books from home. And that is the end of this video. I know it was a quick one with only kind of 5 things, but if you have any queries about items that you are not sure about taking, then let me know in the comments because I will reply and I will let you know what I think personally and kind of what my friends did, because like my situation with my allergies was slightly different to everyone else's. Like, I had a fridge in my room because I had to store my food away from everyone else's, so it is a bit different. But if you have queries, let me know, and I will be coming back with a video on stuff that I would recommend taking next week, so that will all be answered in that video. I hope you enjoyed, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you then. Bye!